It's tied into their real stats somehow.
Okay, we're going to call our meeting to order for Monday, September the 23rd at 6 o'clock. And we're going to call to order. We're going to have roll call, please.
Dr. Pinther?
Here.
Dr. Blasco?
Here.
Dr. Champagne?
Here.
Dr. Pisani?
Here.
Dr. Sanders?
Here.
Dr. Moore?
Here.
Dr. Lee?
Here.
Miss Pate?
Here.
Miss Bethea?
Here.
Miss Shadler? Miss Shadler? Okay, and Miss Chofie? She may be running late. Okay, you have a quorum.
Okay, we have established a quorum. We're going to go to item 2, public comment. The public comment period is limited to matters specifically noticed on the agenda. No action may be taken upon the matter raised during public comment unless the matter itself has been specifically included on the agenda as an action item. Comments by the public may be limited to 3 minutes as a reasonable time, place, and manner restriction, but may not be limited based upon viewpoint. The chairperson may allow additional time at his or her discretion. Is there any public comment?
Yes, I have. Sorry.
Yes, for the public comment, can you identify?
Hi.
Can you identify your name and who you're representing?
Yes, my name is Donna Brown, and I am the health director here with the Kermit Lake Paiute Tribe, and I am representing Anthony Sampson, my chairman.
And do you have a public comment?
I do. I'm going to just read a statement from him right now. It says, to the Nevada Board of Dental Examiners, from Anthony Sampson, chairman, Kermit Lake Paiute Tribe, regarding formation of Public Health Committee and regulations associated with dental therapists, and that's SB 366. Thank you for this opportunity to provide public comment. It has come to my attention that the Nevada Board of Dental Examiners is proposing to form a Public Health Committee. I am assuming that this committee is a precursor to and will be involved with promulgating regulations associated with SB 366 and the licensure of dental therapists to practice in Nevada. I wish to go on record expressing concern that the proposed committee membership contains the executive director of the Nevada Dental Association, which primarily opposed SB 366, but not a representative of the proponents of SB 366, the Nevada Dental Hygienists Association. I am further concerned that the committee does not contain representation from the rural and tribal public health areas that dental therapists are allowed to serve. Finally, request that the Board of Dental Examiners make public, transparent, and inclusive the process through which the regulations will be developed, and that the process commence with all due speed. Sincerely, Anthony Sampson, Chairman, Kermit Lake Paiute Tribe.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment?
Yes, please.
Please say your name and who you're representing.
This is Karen Foley, and I am presenting the statement from the Nevada Dental Hygienists Association as written by Lancette Van Gilder, the chair of our legislative committee. The letter reads, the Nevada Dental Hygienists Association would like to commend the board for developing this committee and addressing the valuable role of public health in our state. We would like to publicly go on record to voice concerns regarding the proposed list of members being recommended to the newly established Committee on Public Health. 1, there is representation from the Nevada Dental Association, but there is no representation from the Nevada Dental Hygienists Association. 2, the Nevada State Dental Officer is on the committee, but there is not a position for the state dental hygienist. 3, in general, there is a significant lack of representation from the dental hygiene profession, as the proposed committee has 2 hygienists and 4 dentists. 4, there is no representation from rural or tribal areas of our state. The NDHA would also like to clarification on the following items. What will be the charge of the Committee on Public Health? Will the practice of dental therapy be considered by this committee? And if so, then content experts in this area should also be appointed to this committee. What is the process of the board for recruiting and selection of membership committees? We would like to ask that the appointment of committee members be postponed until further work can be done to ensure fair and equal representation on this valuable committee. Selection of committee members could include a more diverse group of individuals that are considered content experts in public health and/or public health policy, and more inclusive of the demographic and geographical considerations of our state. Respectfully submitted by the Nevada Dental Hygienists Association. I have sent my personal testimony to the board office on Friday the 20th, so I will not take your time this evening to read that. I believe you've received my personal testimony. Thank you.
Thank you. And yes, we do have your statement that we got on September 20th in front of us. Is there any more public comment? Sorry. Terry Chan?
Is the north done?
Is everybody up north done?
It's not north, it's with phone conference.
Okay.
There's
Yeah.
nobody up north.
No. So go ahead.
Hi, I'm Terry Chandler with Future Smiles. I'm the executive director. I have been the administrator of a public health program for the past 10 years. And prior to that, I worked for the Nevada State Health Division's oral health program for an 8-year tenure. I've got almost 20 years worth of public health expertise. I would be honored to serve on this committee. I commend the board for establishing the Committee on Public Health and encourage forward movement on that committee. So thank you.
Thank you.
Are you a member of the Dental Hygienists Association?
I am a member, however, I would like to put it on record that I would be representing public health and the Public Health Dental Hygiene endorsement, not necessarily the Dental Hygienists Association, with all due respect to my colleagues.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? Okay.
The more here, what was that person's name? I'm sorry, it was a little hard to hear who that was.
Oh, I beg your pardon, it's Terry Chandler with Future Smiles.
Oh. So we're gonna go on to approval of the agenda. And are there any disclosures from board members? Motion to approve the agenda?
So moved, Sanders?
Second, Blasco.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Interrupt. This is Ms. Shelby.
Aye.
Thank you.
All in favor of the approval of the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Any abstentions? Motion passes. Executive Director's Report. A, minutes. NRS 631.190, board meeting on July the 19th, 2019.
Good evening, board members. You should have in your book for review, you should have the draft minutes from the July 19th board meeting. If you've had an opportunity to review them, if there's any changes you need to suggest, if you would do so at this time. Otherwise, I would request that the board approve the draft minutes from July 19th, 2019.
Do we have a motion?
Well, I've got some changes. So on page 4, the General Counsel's report, under B1, the last line of the first paragraph, where it says board members Bethea and Sanders currently sit on the board, that should say currently sit on the review panel. The next question I have, and I went back and reviewed the recording of this meeting. If you go down to in the motion where it says motion, and you go 1, 2, 3, 5 lines up where it says there was no further discussion, that should read, there was no further discussion, comma, voting members were unanimous, period. The motion did not ultimately pass at that time. There was the abstentions, there was the further clarification, and at the, so it was just voting members were unanimous at that time. Then if you go down to the last paragraph before motion again, where it says upon lengthy discussion, that should say following lengthy discussion. After board member Chofi, it says the meeting. I think that's a typographical error. I think the meeting should be crossed out. Then if you go down to the next section, C, instead of starting with general counsel noted, it should say upon questions from Nsbde whether she needed to recuse herself. General counsel noted that board members Bethea and Sanders had not reviewed the issues before the board at this time. And in fact, maybe, right, so that's good. Instead of had not reviewed the case regarding Dr. Chase. So we need to cross out the case regarding Dr. Chase. And then where it says therefore, this matter was on the agenda because of a previous request of Dr. Chase's former attorney, but Dr. Chase was not in attendance, and therefore general counsel recommended tabling this matter so that Dr. Chase would have an opportunity to be here. If you go to page 6, where it's 5A new business, and it says previous administration was going to be conducting an audit. That should say previous administration approved an audit by the Governor's Office of Finance, Internal Audits Division. If you go further down where it says she noted that, under where it says September 7th, 2019, you'll notice a typo there that we should probably correct. And it should say she noted that it was suggested, not advised. Then the next paragraph, first line, general counsel went through, not stated that she would go through. We actually did go through. So general counsel went through the recommendations and add the word asked, that any board member with any questions contact her, period. And I believe that is all I have.
I was in attendance at the meeting and my name's not on the attendees at the beginning on like page 1 or 2. And you have me noted as being part of the conversation with the silver diamond fluoride, so you should have my attendance present too.
Do you have that, Angie? Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. Are there any more comments on the agenda for changes in the draft? Approval of agenda? Go ahead.
Hello, on page 11, and again, my apologies for joining the call late, but I heard there was some discussion about the Public Health Committee, and is that going to be clarified during this meeting? Because my questions relate to what the minutes reflect as to how that came about, and it seemed a bit different to me. So I just wanted to see, are we going to further discuss the membership on that committee and how that committee is coming into being?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
But if you have any clarifications that you feel need to be made to the minutes, you should discuss those now before we vote to approve these minutes.
I guess I was a bit confused because it seems that it wasn't a request, but it was more of a proposal that committee is going to be put together. And then I just recall that Ms. Chandler was invited to sit at the board table and discuss her qualifications or the purpose of such a committee. And I just didn't know if that is if that should have been more reflected in the minutes, because I didn't know if that's how we go about selecting committees or deciding on committees.
Hold on just a second.
So the minutes do reflect the discussion about creating this committee. So I guess to the extent that any changes need to be made as to the membership or anything like that, we can discuss that tonight. But as far as what these minutes reflect, I think I do think that they are, unless anybody else has any issues, they appear to be properly reflective of what the creation of the committee was going to be.
Okay, so
we need
go ahead.
question. This might sound stupid, but what exactly is public health?
Well, that we can discuss at the time of the agenda items.
So what is public health?
Dr. Lee, we can discuss that at the time of the agenda item. That's not the agenda item we're on right now.
Is there any more questions about the draft? All right, so we're gonna motion. Do you have a motion to approve the draft? The board meeting drafts on July the 19th, 2019.
The motion to approve the draft
Okay.
With the changes.
with the changes.
Okay.
Second, Sanders.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes. Item B, lease, NRS 631.190, approval of the new office lease with Transwestern Investment Holdings VD LLC.
So our lease is up April 30th of 2020. So with all of the building going on and trying to find a location and to consider whether build outs had to be done, we started looking after the board had approved for us to look for another office space. And we have found one that's fairly close to here. It's right on the corner of 215 and Russell, so it is easy access. There's two buildings. Right now, one of the buildings has two other state agencies in it. The Attorney General's office has a department in there, as well as the cosmetology board, and then we would be in the second building. We are outgrowing this office space, and the design of this office space isn't conducive for what we're looking for in moving ahead. So I'm requesting, so this lease would begin on March 1st, which would give us time to move out of this office space, get everything set up at the other office before we have to vacate this space. So I'm requesting that the board approve this new office lease, or if you have any questions regarding the lease. Otherwise, I'm requesting that the board approve the lease so that we may.
Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
More. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Sorry. More. I was wondering why didn't as a group discuss the size of the office? Because I know that, I realize that you're trying to get a jump on everything, but it seems like the size is going to include some items that we may or may not approve, right? I mean, we have some positions that we need to discuss, et cetera. And I'm just wondering, can we can we move this agenda item to maybe later in the meeting tonight so we can see how the rest of it goes, and then maybe that'll give us a little better clarification on how much space, if we need all that space. Also, I was wondering about what the chances are of having maybe an X-ray unit at the facility where for future, if somebody needs to see a patient there from a complaint, it would keep the patient going to a third-party doctor's office to have evaluations done and that sort of thing. It would be done at the board. So just those suggestions.
Only, I don't know if anyone looked at the rent.
So currently we pay $1.96 a square foot. We got $1.93 on this square footage. We are not being charged any of the build outs that are included with this office space. Like this office, we paid for the build outs. If you go to any other existing office, you're going to pay for the build outs. They absorb the cost of the build outs. So the board is not being charged those costs. Your square footage per dollar is less than what we pay here. It's a much newer building. It's much more secure building. Yes, it's a larger space, but if you look at the length of the lease is, I believe, an 8-year lease with a 5-year option, because it's very expensive to move boards and everything that's entailed in it. So with us finding a larger space, it gives the board the ability to grow over the next 13 years without having to worry about incurring the cost to move again and so forth.
We've also got 3 months, one in each of the next 3 years, where
they gave us
we're
no
not paying
rent.
any rent.
Second month, 13th month, and the 25th month, they're not charging us any lease payment for those months.
All right. So,
This is Donnie. I'd like to make a motion to approve the new lease.
Second, Blasco.
any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
I oppose.
Who's that?
More.
You're opposing?
Yes.
Any abstentions?
I also.
I have, Dr. Lee and Dr. Moore have opposed.
Okay.
Based
you're
upon
opposed?
that, the motion still carries.
Okay. So say that one more time.
I saw a place on Youthnet, looked really nice, not too far away either. $17 per square foot per year.
So the motion passes.
It's $17 per square foot per year.
All right, versus this would be, if it's $2 a square foot, that would be $24 per square foot per year, right?
This is not $24 per square foot per year.
It's $2 a square foot.
No, it's not.
It's $1.93.
$1.93.
Right.
Times 2.
The office space is actually $4,697, but we use the common areas and so forth. But of the office space, its usable space is $4,697, and we are just under $3,200 here.
And were there build outs?
It's not like I own the building, does anyone want to use it?
No, I'm just,
I understand, but there's
This
a lot
is
of
built out
other.
also. Look.
So, okay, so,
well, the motion passed,
so we're gonna, so the motion has passed. And then Dr. Lee, you can talk to Miss Melanie after, if you like, about all that.
This is their motion. I don't have a dog in this fight.
Alrighty, we're gonna go down to item C, authorize investigative complaints. Item 1, Dr. Y.
yes, I'm
Received.
requesting the board authorize an investigative complaint regarding information we received from the board's licensing specialist that Dr. Y has failed to file current board recertification for his or her designated specialty license in accordance with NRS 631.255.
Do we have a motion?
This is Moore. I'd like to make a motion that we do not authorize any more investigative complaints, etc., until we have time to review the audit like was discussed at our last meeting, and until it's clear to us that our oversight is up to par on the audit request.
This is Lee, I'll second it.
Table.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye, Lee.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Aye. Aye.
Any abstention?
So the motion passed.
Motion to table.
So
Motion to table fails.
Right,
So right,
so is there,
yeah.
is there another motion?
So the motion to table has failed. So we're moving on to item 2.
No.
No.
No, you have to,
No. You have to do something with one.
You have to you have to have a motion to either authorize the investigation or to not authorize the investigation.
All right. So we're going to motion to have the investigation on item 1. Do we have a motion?
This is Kate. I move that we authorize an investigation.
Do we have a second?
Second, Sanders.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Aye.
Moore.
do a roll call.
Any abstentions? Roll call?
You want to do a roll call that way?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
So it's for agenda item 4C1.
So we just need a roll call on that.
So the motion to approve the authorized was Ms. Pate, and it was seconded by Dr. Sanders. And now I need Dr. Panther,
Yes.
Dr. Blaska,
Yes.
Dr. Champagne,
Yes.
Dr. Pisani,
Yes.
Dr. Sanders,
Yes.
Dr. Moore,
No.
Dr. Lee,
No.
Ms. Pate,
Yes.
Ms. Bethea,
Yes.
Ms. Shadler. Oh, she's not on. Ms. Choate,
Sorry, yes.
Is that Ms. Chofie or Mr. Sadler?
Yes. Ms. Chofie.
okay, is Ms. Shadler on the call? Okay, just making sure that she didn't come in. Okay, so motion passes.
We're going to item C2. Dr. Z received information from the State Board of Pharmacy regarding allegations of non-compliance with AB 474, failing to conduct patient queries and self-queries to the PMP, possible violations of Chapter 639 and NRS 631.3485, 2 and NAC 631.045 subsection 4. Do we have a motion to authorize this investigation?
Motion Blasco.
Do we get a discussion?
You-
After motion.
Made, yeah.
Second,
Sanders.
any discussion?
Back to the same reason, I mean, right now we have an issue with our process and our policies.
Well, this actually is a little different because this policy was created by the legislature and is in our statutes that give the executive director the ability, when we receive this information, I contact the licensee to receive information from them, whether the information I've received from the pharmacy board or from any other resource is accurate. This licensee has failed to respond to the inquiry that I sent, which the next step after that is in statute is for a complaint to be filed, which the board is the only one that has the authority to do that.
It's right here.
And
So
this is an
doesn't-
investigative complaint. This is not a formal complaint.
And it has nothing to do with the audit.
It has nothing to do with the audit, neither of these do.
So all,
And the legislature
I think
gave
that
the
problem with
authority.
our investigative process is the problem.
Okay, Dr. Lee, I've asked you several times to please call me with your questions, because you're not correct in what you're what you're saying
It's right
about
here.
the audit. I will be happy, more than happy to go over it with you, but you're
this is to
simply not
protect the
correct.
public, right here,
This-
under that.
If you don't agree with the motion, by all means, I encourage you to vote no. But I cannot sit here and allow you to keep saying that the audit says that this is improper, because it does not say that.
So moving forward, so we have any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Aye.
More.
So Dr. Moore and Dr. Lee are opposing, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Any abstentions? Motion passes for the authorized investigative. Is that Ms. Chofi?
I'm sorry, I didn't say anything. I said aye, but
Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry, okay,
There seems to be
Okay,
a
hold
delay.
on a second.
delay where you're concerned, Ms. Choki, that's all.
So we have and Ms. Sandler's not on the phone, correct?
correct. I'm not sitting there, but I don't believe she's on the phone.
All right. We're breaking up, that's why. That's why we asked everybody to come to the office, because there's a lot of breaking up and on the phone. Sorry about
I
that.
had some extenuating circumstances, as I explained.
Yep. All right, so Betty is here now. And so now yeah, she was on the phone on the way here. All right, so motion passes for that. We're gonna move on. We're gonna move on to new business. First, any of the positions we are about to consider were included on the proposed budget that was considered by the board on a prior agenda item this evening.
No. By the Budget and Finance Committee.
By the budget and finance.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. By the Budget and Finance Committee, sorry. So, we're going to approval and rejection of a part-time, go ahead. I'm gonna,
Are you going to tell the board what the result of the recommendation was?
May I ask who's speaking, please?
The budget committee went over?
is that Dr. Moore?
Yes.
Okay, we're just trying to clarify because we're having a hard time.
You may want to identify yourself before speaking so we know who you are.
If you're on the phone, that would be helpful.
So we're going to item 5A, approval and rejection of the part-time employee investigator. Over the past year, several meetings, board members have inquired about the board considering an in-house employee investigator instead of disciplinary screening officers. In light of the inquiries and the recommendations to either employ the DSOs or contract the DSOs as independent contractors, the executive director and the board's accountant have weighed the pros and cons of each and believe it is in the best interest of the board, licensees, and the public to hire a part-time employee investigator who is a dentist. Do we have a motion?
I have discussion with more.
We have to do the discussion after we get a motion and a second.
Kate, I move we approve the,
Do we have a motion?
Kate?
Kate. Second? Basani?
Sunny.
All right, any discussion?
4,
Go ahead.
you stated that, that the board and the executive director have decided that this is the best move. Which members of the board are you?
That's not what I said, Dr. Moore.
She said that several
Can
members,
somebody read back what you just read?
yes, she said several members of the board, Dr. Moore, and if you remember, Miss Chofie, when they became board members, Miss Chofie and Dr. Lee actually made comments at the meeting when they discussed, is there any way, or has the board ever thought about having a in-house investigator instead or in lieu of the disciplinary screening officers? So that was brought up. It may have been at a meeting that you didn't attend, but it did happen. And so with that, along with the auditors suggesting contracts, independent contractors or employing the DSOs, it made more sense to look into possibly hiring a in-house employed investigator.
So I did make a comment something like that at the beginning of the year or last year, but did I say it was a dentist investigator? Because, you know, the medical board has just investigators.
No, that's not true.
They do have investigators, but they have a medical doctor who is their in-house medical reviewer. They absolutely do have that. Their investigators merely collect information.
So did we ever go over the process of how we're going to investigate before we start hiring people?
The process to investigate is
It's
in statute.
It's in statute, and you were here at the meeting. We gave paper right here. Remember? The flow
Dental
chart.
Practice Act, NRS 631 sets forth the investigation.
Yeah, okay.
NAC 631 sets forth.
You know, the audit specifically stated, you know, that was before, maybe I said that, but, you know, after the audit, it stated that having one or a few DSO agents or investigators was problematic. And now we're going to limit it to one part-time.
Okay, so.
You're mixing up a lot of things.
Yeah.
I really wish you'd come and talk to me, because the audit.
I mean, isn't this what's for discussion? Why don't you come
No,
talk to me first?
actually, the audit is not on the agenda.
It's not, but it's why. Just because you put it on the agenda.
The audit
Does that make
has
it
been
okay
on the
also?
agenda. We've discussed the audit.
I mean, how many board members asked for this position to be put on this agenda?
Okay, so if you, can I? Okay, so when the auditors, this last audit that came out, they had recommended that the DSOs be either employees or independent contractors. The problem with that is, as employees, they're not here at the office, they don't work out of this office because they're full-time dentists or full-time dental hygienists. So because they can't work out of this office and give an exact amount of time, how do you employ them? I can't employ one for this, one for that, and have them all, and then they all work from home and try to keep track of them. It would be impossible. If we go with independent contractors, then we have liability issues as to whether the DSOs would want to be independent contractors. Because could they assume a liability that they don't have currently? Yes. So then the question is, if we don't have dentists and hygienists that want to become independent contractors and get business licenses and get liability insurance to do this job for $50 an hour, then where are we going to be left with? So we thought you and Ms. Chofie had a very good idea to consider bringing in an in-house investigator. Unfortunately, dentistry, like medical, you need a dental background. in order to do these types of complaints, you need to have a dental background. So we thought, well, let's see if there's even somebody who would be interested in serving in this capacity. And so we did receive an application from a dentist who is retired, is not in competition. He sold his practice over a year ago. He has an active license in good standing, and he's been licensed in this state since 1981. And he is willing to serve in this capacity. So that is how we got where we're at here tonight.
All right, so all in favor of the approval?
I'm sorry, today, I was writing down the board members that you mentioned that have discussed this position with you and council. Can I get those names, please?
It wasn't discussed it with her and I. They discussed it in an open meeting. It was brought up in an open meeting on several meetings because I think with them being new, they didn't understand why we had these investigators and, you know, and we didn't have full-time investigators or part-time investigators like other boards. So when this issue came up with the audit and whether to employ him or contract with him and all of that that goes along with it, the suggestion to have a part-time investigator, and that's not to say that the investigation position can't go to full-time, but right now to start out with a part-time investigator who is a dentist who can investigate these cases as an employee of the board. So it was Ms. Chofie and it was Dr. Lee who had brought up or inquired about having in-house investigator.
Yeah, I wasn't asked who brought it up. I'm sorry, I thought in the statement that she read about 5A that there were board members and council that had discussed this position and sort of laid it out. That's what she was reading.
We did that in a board meeting.
So the job position was laid out at a specific board meeting and discussed what those duties would be?
No, it's like whenever there's a position that's discussed that becomes available, I draft up the notice. That's part of my duties. If you need to see a list of my duties, Dr. Moore, my duties have been defined long before you became a board member. So I'm just doing my duty that the board has directed me to do in the past, and unless I'm told otherwise, if you want to change my duties, you have every right to do so, but you would have to do that in a public meeting. So if you would like that on the next agenda, I'd be more than happy to put that on there for you.
I appreciate the offer. I'm not putting a personal attack on anyone.
I'm not putting, well, you can only imagine how I feel, but that's okay. I'm a grown woman and I can handle it. But I'm just telling you that my duties have been defined for years, and this is part of my day-to-day operations. Is if the board directs me to look into something, or if something makes sense that I look into it to see if it's even fathomable, and if it is, then I will bring it to your attention. But you are the ultimate decider on it.
I appreciate that very much. Maybe just for my own clarification, if Ms. Nsbde wouldn't mind, could she repeat what she read? Maybe I just misunderstood what she said. Can you really reword it?
So are we going to, go ahead. Pisani, I think was Dr. Pisani, were you talking?
Yeah, when you mentioned a board accountant, the accountant for the board, not board members.
Right.
Correct, because if you can't financially afford it, then that solves your answer.
And the accountant is here today also. So we're gonna move forward. So we already had discussion. All in favor for the approval of the part-time employee investigator position?
Aye.
Aye.
Say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Any abstentions? Motion passes. So do roll call on that.
Okay, so this is 5A. motion was Ms. Pate, seconded by Dr. Hassan. And this is for agenda item 5A. Dr. Pinker? This is to
Yes.
approve, okay.
Let me clarify, approval for a part-time employee investigator, right?
Correct,
Yes.
okay. Dr. Blasco?
Yes.
Dr. Champagne?
Yes.
Dr. Pisani?
Yes.
Dr. Sanders?
Yes.
Dr. Moore?
No.
Dr. Lee?
No.
Ms. Pate?
Yes.
Ms. Bethea?
Yes.
Ms. Shadler, she's not on. Ms. Chofi?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Yes, it's approved, motion
It's
passes.
improved.
Can I ask one question? Will we still have the other investigators, the other DSOs too? Or
No.
just this person?
No. So the way, so for,
They won't be investigators per se. We may have to use some specialists as experts to the extent that our investigator is a general dentist. But they won't be investigators.
They won't
the
be
way we-
DSOs, they'll just be like consultants or
Experts on a
something.
case-by-case basis,
Okay.
a consulting expert.
Going on to item 5B, approval and rejection of a full-time in-house deputy general counsel position, NRS 631.190, based upon the increased investigations, litigations, and implementation of the review panel and formal hearings, and to ensure the public is protected and the workload is progressing. This will require the hiring of a deputy general counsel when the board hired in-house counsel in lieu of outside counsel. The board lost the resources that came with a law firm. Therefore, the board needs an additional attorney, which we have discussed before in meetings in the past. So, do we have a motion?
So move, Sanders, to approve.
Second?
Pate?
Any discussion?
Lee?
Go ahead.
I don't ever remember discussing hiring another lawyer in the previous meeting. Part-time lawyer.
Ms. Chofi?
And I'm sorry, I just had a question regarding as far as was there, I know we did definitely discuss the investigator position, but as far as general counsel, and I understand what the explanation is, but as far as does there need to be any more justification? I guess my concern is that Melanie does a great job. I'm sure it's a job for 10 people, but we also have the contracted attorneys, and now to hire another person, is that something, I don't know, that
So
we should be doing at this point?
The contracted attorneys that we have are specific, their services are specific to district court litigation only. So they do not handle any of the current investigations going on or any of the preparation for the review panel, any administration, any general matters that come up throughout the day that aren't pertaining to any investigations or any licensure questions that come up in-house. So the contracted attorneys are specific to only litigation. Otherwise, it's only Melanie that handles the general and day-to-day legal matters for the board, including investigations.
And do we know, as far as other licensing boards, do we know that they have more than one?
Yes, the pharmacy board has 2. The nursing board has 2. The medical board is looking for a 3rd.
I think they might be looking for a 4th.
Oh, 4th?
They've currently got 3 or 4. And they're either looking for a fourth or fifth, I'm not sure, but they've got a number of attorneys.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, do the other members think maybe possibly that all these lawsuits are as a result of our policies?
The lawsuits aren't, the lawsuits are the contracted attorneys that handle the
Well, did you say
litigation.
we have all these litigation going on, that's why we need extra help?
Well, the litigation is
The
only
litigation is-
three licensees.
Yeah.
Then why do you need extra help? You just said that.
Excuse me. Okay, the day-to-day, our number of patient complaints have gone up, okay? I am handling calls from the entire dental community, legal questions. I am handling the review panel, which is new. I am handling the scheduling of informal hearings. Our number of formal hearings have gone up. Our the amount of work that is going on into this general counsel position has probably tripled since you had outside counsel. When you did have outside counsel, you also had an entire law firm behind that outside counsel, including an associate attorney.
And that was
I am
before
currently
us.
doing the job of about 4 or 5 people, and I have requested that this board consider whether or not I can have an associate to help with the day-to-day operations, legal operations of this board. This is for your benefit. So it's up to the board whether or not you want to approve it, but I'm telling you, as the person in the trenches, it is absolutely necessary.
Is it fiscally possible?
Yes.
We have enough money?
Is there a motion to approve?
Well, we're still in discussion.
You can call for the motion.
I'm not done talking.
Okay, what else do you want?
Go ahead.
Actually,
Go ahead,
should do the
Dr.
motion before any discussion.
I mean, you know, I think we do need to hire a lawyer personally, but I think the lawyer should be for something else. You know, I think we need to maybe think about hiring an outside lawyer to look at what we're doing here.
But that's what the auditors got us away from.
So you
They don't want us contracting with
Do you
outside
feel
counsel
that you need an
anymore.
outside counsel to determine if your in-house counsel is doing things properly?
Not just the in-house counsel, everything we're doing.
Okay.
But
Because
she's
if you can-
asking you,
So-
but she's asking you a question, Dr. Liz.
Yeah, I mean,
Partly,
if there's
yes,
a
also.
problem with,
Yes, also partly, yes. I
okay,
agree.
then maybe we should put on the next agenda whether there should be discussion as to whether this board has confidence in their counsel or not.
Okay.
I would like to second Dr. Penther's motion
Okay, I'm sorry, Dr. Penther's motion, what was his motion?
to approve this.
To approve.
Oh, I have
Dr. Sanders'
I have Dr.
motion and
Sanders
Kate
and
as a
Ms. Kate.
second.
Oh, that,
Are we
we actually
called for
got
the
through that
question?
before. I didn't think we ever did that.
All in favor, say
Very
aye.
good then.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Aye, Lee.
Aye. More.
Any abstentions?
Staffer,
Aye.
Oh, hi!
sorry, I kind of worked a little late.
That's okay. Let me just document which time you came on.
So,
I didn't notice the time. I'm like, oh my God. Sorry.
You're
so,
fine.
so do we need a roll call on that? We need a roll, so we're just gonna go back. Ms. Sandler,
Retitle.
are you on the phone?
Got it.
Ms. Sadler, are you on the phone now? Hello?
Ms. Shadler, we're on agenda item 5B. It's the approval rejection of a full-time in-house deputy general counsel position. We have a motion by Dr. Sanders to approve the position. It was seconded by Ms. Pate. There's been discussion regarding it, and now we're going into a roll call vote.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so this is to approve the deputy general counsel position. Dr. Penther,
Yes.
Dr. Blasco,
Yes.
Dr. Champagne,
Yes.
Dr. Pisani. Did I lose Dr. Pisani?
It's probably on mute.
We'll go back.
Dr. Pisani?
Yes.
Did you say yes to the approval? I'm sorry.
Dr. Pisani?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Sanders?
Yes.
Dr. Moore?
No.
Dr. Lee?
No.
Ms. Pate?
Yes.
Mrs. Bethea?
Yes.
Ms. Shadler? If you need,
Abstain?
I'm sorry?
Abstain.
Abstain, okay,
Abstain?
thank you. And Ms. Chofi?
Yes.
Okay. Because she just came in, she didn't get the whole conversation.
Okay.
Motion passes.
Motion passes. Now we're moving on to item 5C, approval and rejection of full-time employee reception position, NRS 631.190. The board has an unfilled position for a legal assistant. The executive director would like to promote within and move staff into different positions with board approval, but this will leave a full-time receptionist position vacant. Therefore, there is a request to approve a receptionist position in the future when promoting certain staff members. Do we have a motion?
I'm gonna do the,
Pisani?
Pisani?
second.
Done, motion to approve.
Any discussion?
I'm sorry, could you, this is Chelsea, can you explain that again? I'm not sure I got,
So,
as far as the future or?
Right, so currently, we have a vacant legal assistant position that we left vacant because we weren't sure if, with the attorney position being open or so forth, to fill that position. So now, what I'd like to do is promote staff. So the legal assistant position is a funded position. It's been funded this last fiscal year, and it's also funded for the proposed budget. I would like to promote certain staff to different, modify their duties and move those positions around and move staff up into that legal assistant position. And then that would leave the full-time receptionist position open. So I'm just asking to approve that full-time receptionist position to be funded when those changes happen.
Any other discussion?
Point of clarification, these are no new positions, these are simply reallocations of existing budget positions.
Yes,
Retitling.
Well, this one is. So, well,
Yeah, this one is.
right,
If you promote somebody up into a vacant position, you void
correct.
in the
So,
role.
right,
So
it
those
should
two
modify.
positions exist.
Correct.
Correct.
Okay, that's all I'm saying.
Yes.
yes.
The title might change in some of the duties, but yes, there is a full-time position
That doesn't
currently
mean
funded,
much.
yes.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Okay. Any abstentions? Motion passes.
So
We're gonna do a
Dr.
roll call
Moore,
again?
you were you want a roll call?
Yeah.
Okay. So the motion was Dr. Pisani to approve. It was seconded by Ms. Pate. And this is for approval. Dr. Pinther?
Yes.
Dr. Blasco?
Yes.
Dr. Champagne?
Yes.
Dr. Pisani?
Yes.
Dr. Sanders?
Yes.
Dr. Moore?
No.
Dr. Lee?
Yes.
Ms. Pate?
Yes.
Mrs. Bethea?
Yes.
Ms. Shadler? Ms. Shadler? Okay. Ms. Chofi?
Yes, on Trophy.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Moving on to item D, 5D, financials, NRS 631.190, consideration of the fiscal year 2020 budget, approval, the recommendation from the Budget and Finance Committee that met last Friday regarding the proposed draft budget for fiscal year 20. We're gonna go with item A. Do we have a motion? Do it as a whole?
So I believe this is where Dr. Moore, so the budget, just give it, the Budget and Finance Committee met September 13th. The proposed budget, draft budget was approved with 3 changes and some cost changes. So the 3 changes that were not recommended were these 3 positions that you just approved and any cost associated with those positions. So in your board materials, you'll have looked at the original proposed budget, which was the proposed budget that the Budget and Finance Committee considered at that meeting. And then there's the recommended proposed budget, which is, what Ms. Hummel did was she broke out, so she gave you the actuals and all of the same information that's contained in the original that the Budget and Finance Committee considered, but she amended the proposed budget by removing the costs associated with those 3 positions, and I will let her explain how she did that, so you know what you're looking at.
This is more, the same courtesy, I would like when y'all are speaking down there, I don't really know who's saying what. If you could do the same courtesy with name, please, thank you.
Thank you. I was Deborah speaking, and Ms. Hummel will be speaking now.
Thank you.
I'm going to move up here for a second. Okay, so what I gave you on the worksheet is, like Mrs. Deb was saying, is I gave you the proposed budget that was presented to Budget and Finance. I also gave you a column with the adjustments based upon the Budget and Finance Committee's recommendation to eliminate those 3 new positions from the budget. And then the final column is the amendment of that proposed budget, which eliminated those costs. So now what you have is you have those 3 positions that have been approved, which means we have to fund them. So you have to pick which budget, proposed budget, to approve. Or adjust if there's somebody that has a recommendation to make an adjustment.
So we're going with the approve and reject the modified budget?
Approve, reject the recommendations.
So I think, well, I think you're rejecting the recommendations from the Budget and Finance because that removed the positions. Now you've approved those positions.
Correct.
So to me, you would reject the Budget and Finance proposed recommendations, and you're going to, you could, if you wanted to, approve the modified budget, which is the one that Stacy prepared.
I think that's confusing.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so you have to decide if you're going to approve or reject the Budget and Finance Committee recommendations.
Mm-hmm.
And if based upon that, whether you're going to approve or reject
the
original proposed budget.
The original.
Right.
The original proposed budget.
Right. Okay.
Question
So
on
we're
the
gonna-
first one proposed at the last page of the proposed budget, negative on the fiscal year 2020 at the bottom, negative 212,955.
Correct.
So our budget's going to go negative?
Yes, we have some expenses that we wouldn't normally have because of the move, the upcoming move. And this, and also some expenses that, regardless of the move, that need to be taken care of with the replacement of the server, computer systems, software. There's several items that, regardless of the move, we need to do. We need to spend the money.
Right, but that was all discussed at the Budget and Finance Committee meeting last Friday with Dr. Moore and Dr. Sanders and myself.
Okay. Well, I'm there.
Right, because you're not on the Budget and Finance Committee.
Right, that's what I'm asking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so she's just re-going over all of that. Mm-hmm.
So because there's the move involved, there's obviously expenses that we normally wouldn't have, but the board has a reserve fund to take care of those.
More here, perhaps the accountant or whoever is speaking on behalf of the proposed budget, perhaps if you can add up what the new charges are for hardware, software, those types of requirement things that the state has imposed on you, and then separate that from the move and the new positions, and that perhaps that would help Dr. Lee in looking at the negative number there and making a little more sense of it.
Well, you can look at the adjustments per the Budget and Finance Committee's recommendations for the elimination of the 3 positions, and that is $140,000. The move is about $89,000, and the balance of that difference is on upgrading the technology in the offices here.
So we're going to go ahead and move forward, and we go with.
If you could, Dr. Lee and I just a second, I'm trying to do the math while you're talking. Thank you.
Isn't it easy to just see where the proposed budget, the 3rd column, that's the proposed budget, and the adjustments are in the next column. And so the amended budget is on the right. So if you just eliminate the last 2 columns, you pretty much have the budget.
Right, he's wanting to know more about the technology.
I mean, on this selected, do you think it's wise to be going over budget, over $200,000?
We do have the reserves for it.
We have 1.2 million in reserves.
Fair, this is Dasani.
Reserves are there for precisely these types of items. The state does not like us to have a lot of money in reserves. According to the last audit, they felt that we had more reserve money than what they would recommend us to have. So utilizing the reserves to pay for these things that will assist the board in functioning. Some of these upgrades on the electronics is due to state. The state is requiring these.
I mean, you know, there's a certain amount. I just looking at it, it seems like we're going to be going over about 100 and 150, somewhere around there every year after this, minus the one-time fee for the move the following year for the, let's say, budget 2021, if we just keep going as is.
No, not necessarily.
No, not necessarily.
No.
No. Well, because some of these upgrades that we're doing with the server,
They don't have to be done
the
yearly.
software, they don't get done every year.
I know.
It just so happens a lot of this stuff is pretty old right now, and the board is struggling with some of the equipment that they have currently. The server is a really big issue right now.
Dr. Bersani, did you say something?
Yes. Who is the president of the Budget and Finance Committee?
Say that one more time.
Head of that committee?
Who's the head of the Budget Finance Committee?
Finance.
Dr. Sanders.
Dr. Sanders.
Dr. Sanders you explain to me how we're going to vote and which budget you guys are going to approve, since we've already approved the new employees? Which budget which item, A or B, do we vote for?
Well, clearly fiscal responsibility would dictate you do not approve the proposed budget from the Budget and Finance Committee, since those positions are not funded in that budget. It is therefore, in my opinion, you should be approving the original proposed budget.
Thank you.
But that's not one of the items. So that's not one of the items under consideration. So it's
Well,
budget one, so.
it would be B probably.
It'd be B.
It would be B.
It would
It's
be
the
B.
modified.
budget.
Right.
Correct.
Which in
So-
Which
this
is
case,
the original budget.
we modified it back to the original by
Which is
approving the
second group
positions.
of papers.
Yeah.
Right, okay. So moving forward, do we have a motion to approve 5D financials, but B, the approve and
Well,
modified?
we gotta reject first. don't
No,
we?
it's for possible action, so you can not have to
Oh,
approve
okay.
anything. You can just go to item B and approve it or disapprove it.
So that we're all clear, we're going to B, approve, reject, modified budget. Do we have a motion?
I motion that we approve the budget in section B, the modified budget. This is Tasani.
Second?
Also known as the original budget.
This is Blasco. Second that.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye, Lee.
Any abstentions? Motion passes. We're gonna do a roll call again.
So this is for financials listed as 5D, 1B, approve, reject, modified budget, otherwise known as original budget. We have a motion by Dr. Pisani, a seconded by Dr. Blasco, and this is to approve that. And Dr. Pinther,
Yes.
Dr. Blasco,
Yes.
Dr. Champagne,
Yes.
Dr. Pisani,
Yes.
Dr. Sanders,
Yes.
Dr. Moore,
No.
Dr. Lee,
No.
Ms. Pate,
Yes.
Mrs. Bethea,
Yes.
Ms. Shadler,
Yes.
and Ms. Chofee.
Yes.
Yes, motion passes.
Motion passes. Now we're going on to item E, 5E, which is the approve and reject the application and hire part-time employee investigator position that we talked about earlier. And it'll be Dr. Stephen Hall, DDS. Dr. Hall is a general dentist licensed in the state of Nevada since March of 23rd, 1981. Dr. Hall graduated from Cretin University Dental School. Dr. Hall's dental license is active and is in good standing. Dr. Hall is not in private practice. He sold his dental practice over a year ago. Dr. Hall has never served as a disciplinary screening officer on the behalf of the board. He recently retired, but would like to stay active in the dental profession. He hopes to serve the public and the board in the capacity as the part-time investigator for the board. Do we have a motion?
Move to approve Blasco.
Second?
Fine.
Madam President,
Yes.
I would like to disclose that I have worked with Dr. Hall as a part-time employee, half day a week at the dental school, so I know him by acquaintance.
So is he gonna have to disqualify himself from all the dental schools and?
He's already,
He's
already
retired.
he
He's
retired
retired.
completely from all of
He's,
it.
he's,
Yeah.
he
So
doesn't
this-
work for anyone.
But if he knew
Like
them,
Dr. But
No, that
Dr.
doesn't matter.
But
Doesn't matter.
But like Dr. Sanders, he's retired from UNLV now. All right. So do we have a second?
We do,
Yeah.
Sonny.
Dasani.
Any discussion? All in favor, say,
Moore?
Go ahead.
Has Dr. Hall, has he ever had any disciplinary action against him through the board?
No.
No, that's why I said he has a good standing. They checked everything.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
What?
What was that?
Werewolf. Somebody's got a wolf in the house there.
All right.
Sorry, that's a very hungry 100-pound German Shepherd.
Who's on the?
Oh, wow.
Those northerners.
So yeah.
No, that's Trophy. That's
Oh.
Yeah, her puppy.
She's here.
Yeah.
So we have a second discussion, and then we're going to all in favor. Okay, two people are talking at the same time, so hold on. So Chofi, did you have something to say?
Yeah, I did. I guess when I was looking at that, I wasn't sure if that meant we were actually just starting to accept application, or we were going to make sure, or we were going to vote on this person. And I feel like I haven't really seen anything as far as even references or other than I hear somebody saying he's in good standing. I don't know what that means, and I'll be asking for more trouble if there's not more vetting or more, we leave it open for more applications before we just put someone right into the position as soon as we've posted it.
Okay. Dr. Moore?
Along those lines, I was questioning who on this position again when if there's specific items that you mentioned. Can you explain to us how those specific items that you were looking for came up? I know they were not discussed at a board meeting, so you don't have to say that. But there were stipulations that you put on the position that was on the website.
Correct. So,
but I'd like the board to know how those items, who put those items on.
I did.
How they came up to.
This is Deborah.
So we can table that.
No, this is Deborah. As part of my duties, when we're going to look to hire for someone, especially in this type of unique position, if we said, okay, we're going to approve the position and then wait to have somebody apply for the position, what if nobody applies? So we didn't know whether there would even be somebody that would meet this criteria. I don't know how many volunteer dentists want to do something like this. So we put the position up to see if we would get any applications. And the position was up for over 30 days, and it closed in September at I believe around the 17th or 18th of September. And the only application we received, or someone interested, is Dr. Hall.
He was the only application.
When you say put it up where?
On the website.
It wasn't just on the website. We advertised it on Monster, we advertised it through the state, and we advertised it on our board website. And it was posted for 30 days, like we would any position, and we got one application because this is a unique position. You have to be a dentist. You can't be in private practice. You can't be employed anywhere else. And you're retired mostly, and most retired dentists don't want to do this position. And based on the scrutiny that is being discussed with this board, thank God for Dr. Hall, because otherwise you'd have nobody.
Right.
Well, that brings up the reason that this is the exact reason that I brought it up for whoever's speaking, because nobody didn't mention who it was. But
I did. I said Deborah put it up.
As a board. Me as a board member, I wasn't understanding even the position was available, one. Number two, what the stipulations of the position were. Number two, the first time that I saw it, ignorance or not, the first time I saw it was basically at the Budget and Finance Committee meeting. So I'm just wondering if any of the rest of the board members gave input to the stipulations that you put on this new position that we haven't even voted on yet. So Can we get that?
What do you mean stipulations? There were no stipulations. There was qualifications. There was what the board was looking for. You know, one of the arguments of the scrutiny that the board has been under is the fact that the DSOs, I'm telling you their position. I'm not saying it's correct. I'm just saying their position is that they don't want investigators who are competitors. Well, that's one of the things we considered when drafting up the unclassified position. That's why it had to be a retired dentist, because we wanted to address any of those concerns. Not, like I said, whether they're competition or not, that's in the mind of the person who's saying it. I don't believe that's the fact, but it was taken into consideration when drafting this position, so that those arguments in the future could not be made. So every item that's listed on there was taken into consideration based on what the position is, which, unless you've served as a DSO, I don't think you're well aware of how the investigator investigates. So we had to put what their job duties would be, but also the qualifications that would meet those job duties.
I'll just ask it one last time, and then I promise I won't ask it again. Did any board members have input to the qualification that was put on the application? That's a yes or no. And if it's yes, could we please have that for the record? Thank you.
From what I understand, we discussed this, I think the second meeting that you guys were at, and it was a suggestion.
Who is it?
This is Pate.
He's talking about the specific qualifications.
Specific qualifications.
So we base the qualifications off of the DSOs.
Yeah.
Except that it would be a retired dentist, because, you know, who has the time?
That was back in February.
And also, a dentist who's working in his own private practice isn't going to accept a job that requires him to be here 4 or 5 days a week. So, other than the fact of him being retired, all of the other qualifications are the qualifications that are necessary for a DSO. And this is Melanie, by the way. So, those qualifications have been determined for years. So, I mean, if you think that there's a dentist out there who's in private practice that would like to give up his private practice, you know, 4 days a week,
Well, then he should have applied.
then he could have applied. But you know, I don't know of any.
So all in favor?
I personally think, the position itself shouldn't be a position yet, because we haven't. But.
Well, the board approved that, so.
Yeah, that's what I said.
But now
I
we're
personally
at where we're at.
All right, so we already had discussion. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Find this very
Aye.
hostile working environment.
4.
Any abstentions?
Abstain.
Yeah, Dr. Sanders is abstaining. And then, motion passes, but can we have a roll call, please?
Absolutely. This is regarding 5E, approval, rejection of application for part-time employee investigator position. I have the motion by Dr. Blasco. It was seconded by Dr. Pisani. I have Dr. Sanders abstaining. And and this is to approve. Dr. Pinther?
Yes.
Dr. Blasco?
Yes.
Dr. Champagne?
Yes.
Dr. Pisani? Dr. Sanders abstaining. Dr. Moore?
Oh.
Dr. Lee?
No.
Ms. Pate?
Yes.
Mrs. Bethea?
Yes.
Ms. Shadler?
Yes.
And Ms. Chope?
Abstain.
Are you abstaining because you know Dr. Hall?
No, I'm abstaining because I don't feel that I know enough about him to automatically go ahead and, you know,
Rosalie,
sign off on.
can you chime in, Rosalie? I'm not sure if that's an adequate reason for abstention versus voting no.
Rosalie Sporlove here. Usually that would not, you could make a vote of no if you don't believe you have enough information to approve at this time. But abstentions really should be because you have some type of an ethical conflict that makes you unable to have an impartial decision.
Okay, then talking no.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Motion passes.